Welcome to this deep dive explainer. You know that exact moment when the entire market seems to be moving in one very specific direction, but an absolute giant in the industry just decides to suddenly flip the script? Well, today we're looking at exactly that. We're going to break down how Stellantis is completely rewriting the rules for iconic brands like Fiat and Citroen. And the craziest part? They aren't doing this with some ultra-luxury supercar or a massive premium SUV. Nope. They're doing it by reinventing a concept we honestly thought was lost forever: the accessible, everyday city car. Except this time around, it's strictly, unapologetically electric. A 15,000 euro electric city car. I mean, for years, this has been the absolute holy grail of the auto industry, right? But you have to ask yourself, is achieving true price parity with combustion engines actually possible for the everyday driver, or is this just some kind of industrial pipe dream? Can we really convince the average skeptic to finally ditch the gas tank and embrace the battery if the price is just right? Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today's analysis. We're going to start with Operation Electric Nostalgia, move right into the economics of the 15,000 euro car, unpack the battery revolution and recycling plans, and finally, we'll look at the unavoidable global challenge posed by China. Section 1. Operation Electric Nostalgia, the return of the classics. To really wrap your head around this massive industrial shift, you've got to realize it isn't just about cold, hard batteries and factory lines. It heavily relies on capturing the emotional heart of the European car buyer. Stellantis is playing this modern vintage card brilliantly. We're talking about the reborn Citroen 2CV, with its iconic rounded headlights, right alongside a brand new generation of the beloved Panda. These are designs that actually have a story, you know? They evoke fond memories. But beneath all that nostalgia is pure modern tech. For years, the dogma in the auto world was all about flexibility, building platforms that could handle gas, hybrid, or electric engines all at once. Actually, scratch that. Not anymore. Under their new industrial plan guided by CEO Antonio Filosa, they are completely ditching hybrid flexibility for a pure EV focus. They're basically wrapping highly advanced, purely electric architecture in a really nostalgic shell to make the transition to EVs emotionally irresistible. Section 2. Objective. The 15,000 euro car, the holy grail of EVs. So let's shift gears from that emotional design strategy directly over to the hard economics. Stellantis knows that to survive this insane market pressure, they just can't spread resources thin across 3 or 4 different engine types. They need surgical efficiency. And that efficiency relies entirely on one magic number: 15,000 euros. Keep this number in the back of your mind throughout this explainer because it is the absolute core of this whole narrative. It represents the exact price point where electric vehicles finally stop being a luxury good for early adopters and actually become a mass market appliance. If you can sell an electric car at this price, you've hit cost parity with traditional gas cars, and that fundamentally changes consumer behavior forever. But how do they actually hit that incredibly aggressive price target? Well, Stellantis is utilizing what they call the STLA One platform. This is a modular structure explicitly designed from the ground up to drastically slash industrial production costs. Combine that with LFP, or lithium-iron-phosphate batteries. LFP batteries are so much cheaper to produce, and they're absolutely perfect for your standard daily commute. And honestly, the best part? They are bringing this massive manufacturing revolution right to Italy's Pomigliano d'Arco factory, with the very first units expected to roll off the line by 2028. Pulling this off is not cheap, though. 60 billion euros. That's the sheer volume of investment Stellantis is pouring into their industrial plan over just 5 years. This really highlights that this isn't some fun little side experiment. This is an epic, high-stakes battle for survival. Their goal is to literally triple the weight of electric vehicles in their lineup by 2030. They absolutely want to be the undisputed European champion of affordable EVs, and they are putting up the serious capital to prove it. Section 3. The battery revolution. Breaking the lithium trap. Now, you cannot build a cheap mass-market car if you are constantly held hostage by expensive, geopolitically complex raw materials. That's exactly where standard lithium-ion struggles. Sure, it's the industry standard right now, but it has some major flaws. It's highly complex, it's expensive, and its performance really drops in extreme cold. But sodium-ion technology? That completely changes the game. Stellantis has invested heavily in a French startup called Tiamat to pioneer this. Sodium is abundantly available anywhere in the world, it's highly economical, incredibly sustainable, and it performs excellently in cold weather. Adopting sodium fundamentally frees Stellantis from those rare earth dependencies that currently bottleneck the entire EV market. And this all builds into a highly diversified scheme. Stellantis isn't just betting their entire future on one horse here. They're building what is essentially a highly diversified chessboard of battery chemistries. They've got sodium with Tiamat for cutting costs and dropping lithium entirely. They're using LFP batteries with KTL to ensure affordability for those city cars. They are working with Factorial on solid-state batteries for the high-performance long-range vehicles. And crucially, they are partnering with Renault for battery recycling to recover those vital raw materials. It's just an absolute masterclass in supply chain risk mitigation. Section 4. Recycling and Technological Independence, the closed loop. So, to achieve true technological independence, you really have to learn to never throw anything away. Enter STLA. And let's be clear, this isn't just some PR greenwashing campaign to look good for investors. STLA is Stellantis' dedicated business unit designed to transform ecological recycling into a highly profitable industrial pillar. Recycling is no longer just a nice green initiative. It's a core survival strategy deliberately designed to shield the company from massive price volatility and raw material import bottlenecks. In practice, this closed-loop system is a simple but incredibly powerful three-step journey. Step 1, end-of-life battery collection. Step 2, extracting and recovering the precious cobalt, nickel, and lithium through their strategic joint venture with Orano. And Step 3, taking those recovered materials and using them directly for closed-loop new cell production. You are literally watching the life cycle of a dying battery being reborn into a brand new cell, which entirely replaces the need to go out and mine virgin materials. This closed loop isn't just great for the planet, it is absolutely phenomenal for the balance sheet. 2 billion euros. That is the amount of revenue Stellantis boldly projects they're going to generate by 2030 strictly from their circular economy activities. They're taking what the auto industry used to just consider waste and engineering it into a 2 billion euro profit engine. It's wild. Section 5, the final challenge to China, competitors and collaborators. Of course, none of these massive moves happen in a vacuum. Stellantis faces a highly pragmatic, almost ruthless approach to survival regarding the booming Chinese auto market. Yes, there is massive, undeniable pressure from Chinese competitors flooding the market with cheaper EVs. But rather than just complaining about it or trying to build regulatory walls, Stellantis has formed a crucial strategic partnership with Leapmotor, a major Chinese EV maker. They are intentionally collaborating with a rival to learn new technologies incredibly fast. And their ultimate goal? To maintain the core identity of the European auto industry by becoming the European champion of affordable EVs. They're learning directly from the competition so they can beat them on their home turf. Which really brings us to the ultimate question we have to ask ourselves today. Will a closed-loop, sodium-powered EV ecosystem truly end this era of what some analysts are calling technological colonialism, dominated by Asian battery makers? Or, by pushing so hard and so incredibly fast, are we just racing toward a technological finish line that is still dangerously uncertain? I really want you to think about the massive geopolitical and technological stakes tied to that seemingly simple 15,000 euro city car. Because at the end of the day, it's not just a vehicle, it's a profound statement of industrial independence. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope you found these insights into Stellantis' massive strategic pivot as fascinating as I did. If you appreciate this kind of structured, deep dive analysis, please consider buying us a coffee. There's a link to do just that to help support the show. Keep learning, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.